So, Aleksandra, welcome to CTO Confessions. It's great to have you on board.
Thank you, TC. It's great for being here.
Brilliant, brilliant. So, tell the audience a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? And who do you work for?
I'm Aleksandra Gjinovska, but you can call me Alex. I'm currently the head of technology at IT Labs, been part of the company 13 years so far. Behind the scenes, I'm software engineer, transitioned to software architect throughout the years. And on a private line, I'm a curious traveler, I would say, and a hiker. So that would be an answer for me. I work at IT Labs, and let's say that I serve the engineers at IT Labs.
Wow, fantastic. So you do quite a lot of hiking. I know in the region that you're in, you've got some pretty good mountains and stuff there.
Yeah, luckily we do have a mountain nearby the city. It's called Vodna. So it's always good to go on a hike during the weekend or after work during the summer. So just to reflect, and go back to nature.
Brilliant, brilliant. So my first question is going to be an easy one to you around your tech leadership, because this podcast is all about tech leadership and learning from great leaders like yourself. So are there any books, podcasts, or other resources, films even, that have been quite instrumental in your journey?
Right. Well, yeah, being a tech leader and being overall in the tech world means being constantly informed and being informed by a lot of different sources these days, podcasts, but definitely books as well. So one of the interesting books that I've read is called The Fearless Organization. And so one of the key aspects that I have as a takeaway after that book is that it positions and reinforces that psychological safety isn't just a luxury, that it's important to make sure that the people can be innovative and be fearless, and in that way basically transform their ideas in real either products or just be more innovative.
Fantastic. And we're going to touch on that a little bit more when we come to your leadership and your kind of leadership ideas. But I totally agree. We need to have, what was the book called again?
The book is called The Fearless Organization by Amy Edmondson. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Fantastic. It sounds like one I need to add to my list. So before we kind of go there and explore that a little bit further, I'm really curious around your journey. When did your journey, Alex, begin towards tech and tech leadership even?
Yeah. Officially my career started, as I said, 13 years ago, but my passion for resolving solutions and for math and engineering, it's from early childhood. And definitely here I can point out that my father was the one who basically is responsible for me for my engineering journey, as he's an engineer. And basically I still remember the days when we resolved together math problems. So that's where basically my engineering journey has started, and the passion to resolve problems with first mathematical formulas, and later on, of course, I have a formal education in the field of software engineering. That would be.
You remind me of my daughter when you mention the maths things, because I think maths is like poetry. I think it's absolutely beautiful. So to kind of hear somebody doing maths with their father, it kind of it makes me think about my daughter, who is totally the opposite, and she couldn't think of anything worse to do, and she doesn't get why we do it. But were there any other defining moments in your career that kind of really pushed you there? You mentioned the education, the formal education, bringing some kind of structure around the learning.
I would say that the defining moments in regards to leadership You can see the potential in a leader when you work within a group. So I would say that's when we made some projects within the group of colleagues, the potential of the leadership potential can be easily seen when you work on a group task, for example. But I would say the defining moments for me from transitioning from a solution software engineer that works, on a project to leading teams was basically even before officially formalized myself as a technical lead. In a couple of challenges that we had on a particular project where myself, even I did not have, that title, but I was able to see, for example, we were transitioning one migration and transitioning from one type of architecture to another one. So along the way, there were some challenges, unpredicted. So I positioned myself there to work along with, at that time, the software architect. And that was a good opportunity for the company to recognize my potential. So where I'm going with this is that you do not need to have an official title to show a leadership or to see the high picture, to even to see a particular risk or propose a solution, even that is not particularly expected from you at that time. So I would say that the turning moment was while working on that project. It was in 2016. So yeah, and luckily I had the opportunity to work with brilliant people, and I really mean that, who recognize that not only in me but in other colleagues as well. So empowered us and basically helped us shape the path forward towards leading teams and towards technical leadership.
Fantastic. I think I'm going to pause here on that, because I think this is a really important point, is that what you find in our careers, that, there's always opportunities to step into your discomfort, to step into something more than what you know, and in that there lies opportunities. Is go towards them rather than move away from them, and you've obviously demonstrated that in your and you get a name for yourself, and then you're known for wanting to solve problems as opposed to just being handed some work.
Right. Yeah. Right. There are no margins for showing your potentials, and whenever you see an opportunity or you want to be involved in a particular solution of a problem, regardless that's only tech or organizational or process-wise, or you want to demonstrate a strategic, let's say, opportunity or some innovative concept, it's important to just go with the flow and listen your insight, because very often we are in organizations, we might tend to not to work only on our task and to not move the margins, and that's not how you reach your full potential. So I encourage everyone that, even if your colleagues or even your superior doesn't see a particular opportunity when you are resolving a problem, or you are about to build some new product, I encourage them to be proactive in short. Yeah. If that they feel that can, if they can impact, or if they see that they have seen a bigger picture, or they have seen some option that might have not been seen by the team. And in my experience, I've seen great ideas coming from different levels, either from junior engineers, both for technical leaders. So what I'm trying to say is that a good idea and a leadership potential you can see in different stages and in different seniority levels.
Yes, I understand. Absolutely brilliant. And I think that's a real good learning point for out there. So I just want to stress that point, like you have, to kind of step and move towards things and really stretch yourself. So there's a topic here which might make your eyes roll, Alex. Okay, might make your eyes roll. I'm not sure, but it is something that has been really important to me in my career and seeing the workplace changes. Is women in tech? Okay, because we obviously need to kind of probably balance out some of the situations of the past. Okay, I like to think that we're doing better in that. I just want you to kind of share your thoughts on that. Growing up into an environment which, and again, I hope I don't get cancelled on this, but traditionally speaking, we're very kind of male orientated. It's not the case anymore, thankfully. What's your thoughts on that? What's your experience been like being a woman in tech?
Right. So that's really, really relevant, I would say, question. And I must say that even on the faculty days, because on that particular faculty for software engineering and electrical engineering, before my generation, statistically, the students were male. So I was definitely happy to be part of a generation where I can definitely say that half of the colleagues were women, half of them were around half men. So why I'm saying like it, because I haven't seen that discrepancy, and I have seen the world as from the faculty days even to these days from that perspective. But in a professional environment, I had been the first technical lead, for example, at ITLabs woman at that time. I was part of the Macedonian .NET community. I'm still part of it, but at that time I was the only woman that was part of the community. So I must be honest. Sometimes there were times, where it might have felt awkward. But the good thing is that, as you mentioned, these days we are seeing more and more software engineers and being women, and as well more and more tech leadership being women. So there is shift, even though I definitely think that you bring the skill set regardless of who you are and what you are. So I was lucky, I would say, to both be part of another organization that does not make the difference, and I was lucky to work with that kind of clients that did not have any kind of discrimination or and even I must say that within ITLabs throughout the years, the leadership, both from project management, technical leads as well, there has always been encouragement for women as well. So that I was happy probably to choose the good company.
That's good. So it's really wonderful to hear that you've had a very positive experience. I mean, are there any kind of old ways of thinking still in the space that I think maybe, I'm going to speak for all manhood here. Okay. I'm going to speak for, is there anything that we need to address that is a problem still in the space around that front?
Problem. Well, I would definitely say that there might be still people who see differently, on tech leadership and have expectations that they will see a particular man in a particular age, on that kind of position. And I must be honest, there were a couple of years ago when I had a client visit in the United States, in the people that worked mainly sales and data entry were all male. And when I came in their offices as the technical lead and architect of the solution that they were selling, and they honestly told me that, they were surprised. That was really, interesting, because they mentioned some facts that particularly they don't know that much of women who in their area who work in tech. So that was surprising on my end, because, I didn't have that experience. So what I'm trying to say is that, there's still, and probably there will be people with different expectations, but luckily, so far the experiences have been good, and I encourage every software or every engineer who has woman software engineer who has leadership potential to not take for granted their leadership potential, and to not be discouraged by the expectations of the environment, regardless where they live, because with a lot of effort and passion for this work, no one can tell you that you are not enough for that. Well, yeah.
That's great advice. I think that's great advice. So, I've got, as I mentioned, I've got a daughter as well, and I'm always encouraging her to get into that space. And thankfully, the barriers are less prevalent, but I'm sure there's still comments and judgments and whatever in the space. So, the question I have around IT Labs, because I've worked with many of the leaders within IT Labs, and that's my confession. Okay, so I do know about IT Labs. And one of the things I did notice, actually, it's kind of funny. So, and I realized that I was the only man in a meeting once, and this is a tech company. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter. We're engineers, and as you know, Alex, I think engineers rock. Okay. They're absolutely brilliant people. But, and it kind of struck me. I thought, oh, there you go. It's a complete inversion, So what do you think IT Labs has been doing to do that in a very organic way? It's not hasn't got a program to make that happen. It just happened. What's the element? What's the magic that they've sprinkled into the company to make it so?
To have women in leadership positions?
A good balance.
A good balance. I don't know the formula on the strategy, but I'm 13 years within the company, so what I know and I can guarantee is that the people who are within the company and stay in the company are the ones that we share the same values, both from integrity, respect for others, competentness in their respective tech stack that they are working. Those are, I would say, the margins that we and the things that we want from the people. So regardless of what they are, but I would say that since throughout the years we had spent a lot of time in people development, both professional with particular development plans. And being a people company means to understand, to have empathy for people, and to have high level of emotional intelligence. And statistically, women do have, let's say, higher emotional intelligence. So maybe from this perspective, if we correlate that with people development, making sure that we understand people and we empower them, it's important to have, that balance of emotional intelligence and woman and leadership by women. So if that...
Excellent. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. In fact, it touches on a topic, a passion of mine throughout my career, which has been, the leadership qualities within the space. I'm going to come on to your leadership in a minute. but the idea of you've got masculine qualities of leadership and then what we call feminine. It's not about being a woman or a man. It's just the qualities of it. And you mentioned the empathy there. And I think, I've personally worked in environments that are very masculine. Okay. And there are some benefits to that in terms of things get done and what have you, but there's a lot of not so benefits that kind of come into the space as well. Okay, the ego, or what have you. So yeah, I think to your point is to bring those kind of feminine qualities in, and also have them in men as well. So here you go. Yeah.
Currently, my team,
yeah,
the technical leads and software architects are mainly men. So. And in a more masculine, let's say, environment, you have a very high level of pragmatic solutions, which is very, very important. So, but again, you might see, as you mentioned, some of those aspects in women leaders and emotional intelligence more in men, but it's good to keep that balance good within the team. So you have a good synergy within the team. So
brilliant, love it, great stuff. At the final, as we lead this particular topic about women in tech, because I think it's an important topic that we still need to talk about. Unfortunately, hopefully there'll be a day when we don't have to talk about this stuff. And it's like, why are we talking about this? Is not a problem. So your thoughts on policies that companies can put in place. I mean, is it a case of putting policies into the space for companies to make sure that we do get this balancing and we get more people being encouraged into the space and shift the culture?
When you see policies, you mean like demanding a particular amount of...
Yeah. So, like DEI, I mean, that's obviously in the news at the moment as well, where we have these very strict, enforced pushes within the companies, and that's a whole topic. So hopefully we don't end up in a minefield on that front. But what are your thoughts on that? Any policies you think are good to have there?
Well, while we're transparent, I don't like having policies to ensure that you have a minimum, let's say, percentage of women within a corporation. That being put like that, that doesn't feel fair towards whoever joins the team due to that percentage, or it might be still like that from the remaining part of the colleagues, and it's not fair to the other half of the men's who. So I don't like policies within with organizations for and enforcing like that balance. But I do understand from where that comes. So in order for the organizations to empower and to give chances to women. So I understand that. But I would rather promote, successful stories of women within IT, tech leadership, or overall, let's say, regardless of the industry, leadership positions. And that's how I believe we should empower women. And because every woman that I know, and I know a lot of that are successful in their fields, if you have a vision, a woman will find a way to prove that and to make it right. So no need for policies, regulate, and that kind of because I don't think so that's how we need to resolve and address the imbalance.
Yes, I agree with you. I think the idea is that we have a good intention and we work towards that intention, and just the sheer willpower and human spirit to make that happen will make it happen in some way. So that's really good to hear that, and thank you for your honesty there, because I think it is a topic.
And not only about this, I will take a couple of minutes about this. It's about everything. Even I'm saying to my colleagues, you cannot force someone or motivate. And here I'm talking about everything, whether it's a professional growth from a man or woman. But what we need to ensure that we don't do is to anyhow disempower or demotivate, people, because every one of us has drive to work a particular profession, be in a particular organization, and achieving something meaningful. So the same goes for the tech leadership among women. So we need to make sure that the organizations do not disempower women with overall with the capabilities that they are offering. But I don't think so that having strict policies in regards to the balance of number will resolve that. But some more empowerment between lines.
Brilliant. I love it. That's great. Great topic. Hopefully our audience has learned something from that. I think it's really inspiring what has been demonstrated in your space around that, and obviously in your career as well. So thank you for sharing your thoughts in here. So here we go. Alex, we're going to talk about your leadership now. Okay, as you know, I'm all about leadership, and I think it's a really important thing that we need to have on many levels of our kind of human existence, on geopolitical to companies to teams. And so the question I have for you is that, we talk about a lot of things around what we need in the space from our leadership to help our people grow. Okay, leadership is about people. Okay, how do we lead people? What do you think's missing in that space that we need to do better on? Because we say a lot of stuff, but not all that stuff happens. What's missing?
Yeah, you're right. There are a lot of leadership programs, courses, trainings that companies are investing in the potential of their people in regards to leadership, but we need to make sure that we address that in practice and that we leave the leaders or the potential leaders to embrace the challenges and to own the outcomes and to let them fail, try and fail, reflect and understand their impact. Do not judge because you cannot learn about leadership by just visiting trainings. You need to earn the title, and you need to work with your people and work in a way that integrity is your common ground. To always be transparent in front of your team, even if your vision and strategy didn't went well, to reflect and be transparent within your team. And we need to make sure that we enable that kind of environment so that leaders, can lead their ideas from idea to realization and to reflect along the way what was done good, so they can, on one side be empowered and take responsibility, because leadership is all about responsibility, reflection, and improvement.
Yes, yeah. And what about the people that you're actually wanting to grow as well? What's the thing that we need to do more of there to help our people grow and maybe become leaders themselves?
Right. As I said previously, we cannot, only empower and give that motivation in people, but we need to first identify the potential. That's I would say the biggest challenge of a leader, to identify the next leader that you need to build and guide or coach them. But along the way, to leave space for him to shine within the team, to fail, to reflect. So we need to make sure that we guide the people, not resolve the problem for them, but guide them, and create an environment where they can feel safe to both try and fail and reflect transparently within the team. So it's a cycle. So you need to practice, first of all, yourself as a leader, and everyone in the team will, see that, because leadership is all by let's say transitioned from person to person by example. So you can speak with hours, but people will see your actions. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very true. Yeah, and then this comes back to what you mentioned earlier on, which is that psychological safety. I don't think, we all talk about psychological safety being a really important part of the space, but it really is an enabler. If people feel open to be able to talk about their ideas, their worries, their concerns, their hopes, and sharing ideas and experimenting is such an enabler. Maybe you haven't experienced this, Alex, because you've been at IT Labs, and IT Labs is quite a good environment. I know what it's like from my journey, where I don't have that psychological, haven't had it, and you're literally managing yourself. You're not doing the work; you're managing yourself to be able to, keep going and maybe find engineer opportunities to actually kind of grow, rather than just going out and doing something and saying what needs to be said.
Yeah, that's the common ground. So it's a prerequisite. So to have people, first of all, be happy with in their everyday, let's say, work life, but as well to be proactive and push the limits, and go outside of their comfort zone, where they can explore different areas and as well leadership potential and capabilities.
Yeah, yes, really, really important. I was going to talk about leadership qualities, but you've already kind of mentioned some of those qualities. Is there any particular ones that create the right culture in the space and also create innovation in the space? What are the qualities of leadership that bring about that? Is it simply psychological safety? I don't know.
No, that, as I said, is the prerequisite that the company should have. But in regards to capabilities and qualities, in our world, I would say that a person who connects the dots, and connects the dots and make, because these days, especially with this new way of working, we are seeing a lot of challenges, not particularly only with technology, but mainly, sharing ideas and making sure that we are on the same page. Either that's external stakeholders, internal stakeholders, teams. So one of the main, I would say, aspect and responsibility of a leader is to make sure that his team, he aligns his team on a common goal, vision, and make sure that everyone translates that in a couple of languages. And when I say languages, I mean it needs to translate, so everyone in the team or every stakeholder needs to understand and be on the same page. So I'm saying that, that's the skill of connect the dots. So, and making sure that you lead the people and position themselves to go after a common vision. So this is how I would describe. There are a couple of skill sets that you need to have in order to be able to do this successfully, both from technical skills, soft skills, presentation skills. As I said, understanding people, read the room skills, and communication as a must. So, and in our words, in our world, particularly translating business problems or challenges and addressing them with technology by connecting the people and making sure that we have a common vision. And most importantly, I would say, is not only about creating the strategy, but making sure that we really get there, because there are a lot of ideas, but whether we achieve those ideas and how we achieve is, I would say, one of the biggest KPI of a leader.
Yes, I think, it's in the doing. We can all have ideas, but it's in the doing and the way we execute it. So that's great to share that. And hopefully this will give our leaders out there inspirations, and maybe even just to address and reflect on how we go about that, bring these qualities into the space. And it's interesting from a leadership perspective is that what we've often find is that, especially in the tech space, we've got these really smart individuals that end up sometimes being shoehorned into leadership, but they're not ready for leadership. They don't have the communication skills. They don't have the ability to listen. And so there is a learning curve there. Everybody's got that, but I think that's an important topic as well, is that we provide that ability for them to learn some of these two tricks of the trade, so to speak.
Yes, and to be curious, to be resilient, maybe one of the most important things that I have learned throughout the years.
And my final question around leadership, which I've got a bracket at the beginning of it, which is self-leadership, is the art of, because we all live in a very busy environment, and there's an art that we all think need to learn. So I'd like to kind of explore that with you, which is saying no, saying no, right? Because it's very, we're a lot of us that are proactive in our careers and we want to do well and we want to do what's right for the team, for the customer. It's a big yes. It's a big long string of yeses. The art of saying no.
Yeah, that's a really, really good and relevant question. That's I had particular myself experience in my career. So as I said, being a leader, we often position ourselves as serving to the people of the company and the community, the organization. So and especially being a person who has perfectionism in and you want to be everywhere and address the concerns of the team and try to be, as I said, servant of the people. Definitely it's not in the same let's say path towards a reasonable time that you can spend. So definitely so what I'm trying to say is that I understand from my personal experience that saying no when being in a leadership position might be very, very challenging, as you do not want your team to feel disregarded, or that you want to be there for your team. But along the way, we must learn that our time as leaders needs to be utilized in order to make, first of all, long-term goods. So a meaningful, let's say, allocation of the time in regards what's important, what's urgent, what will make good on a short term versus on a long term. That is something that each one of us needs to revisit each and every day, reprioritize. So addressing, either small fires versus long-term objectives is a balance that all of us, we are trying to keep. But saying no, I will empower everyone to say no whenever they feel that their time will be utilized for long-term goals. Just to make sure that we properly communicate that with the team or whoever needs our time and attention and thought. So, as I said, it's all about communication, but we need to first be well aware where our value is and where our focus should be, and be in peace that it's fine that we say no, that there are days we say no, and to say that elegantly and
yeah, absolutely. I think the art. I think Warren Buffett puts his success down to. He says it's not the amount of opportunities he said yes to; it's the millions that he said no to. That's big. So, and I think what you speak to there is beautifully is his priorities and boundaries. So we like to think that we're infinite beings that have got infinite time and infinite energy and infinite resilience, but we haven't. So we have to be very kind of precious around that, and priorities. I think you put it beautifully. What is the long term? What's the thing that we're going to work on? We've got long term benefits. We can fill our time with the small itty bitty stuff, and maybe we can delegate that stuff out. But your position as a leader is to make sure that we are doing the priorities.
And that had been very challenging, I would say, especially in our world and tech world. And these days, with that amount of dynamic, let's say, that we are facing, keeping a focus for particular goal is definitely something that is a challenge, but we need to navigate through it. So, but as I said, once we are aware of that, it's always easier.
Good. So everyone, learn to say no, find those boundaries, and say them in an appropriate and timely manner. What's good for the company, what's good for the bigger picture. So my next set of questions now, Alex, is around business and tech. You've touched on this a little bit, because it's not all about just tech. It's about business. We are delivering value for the business. So what's the balance that you have to, as a CTO, what's the balance that you have to find, or how do you go about that balance of making decisions that are good for the long-term strategy for business? I mean, what's your kind of process there?
Right. Well, balancing business needs versus technology musts, I would say, is something that's not only in this position, but even all of the technical leads of architects are facing in the day-to-day world, and even on a daily basis, or on a Scrum sprint basis, when they need to either address technical debt or address the features that the business is waiting. So, but we need to as well make sure that as tech leads, we are the ones who are responsible for the quality and that for the sustainability of the solution. So we need to remain true to ourselves and our recommendations, but to be mindful of what the business needs, because at the end of the day, and that's even true even if we start a brand new project, as we can go in and over engineering it, even that's not the initial core value. What I'm trying to say is that especially, and that has always been true, but here lies the engineering solution mindset. When we don't need to understand only the non-functional requirements of the system, but as well understand the overall business goal and how that can be iteratively shipped for the end users. And in that way, we need to be the advocate for our clients, and making sure that we still will reach out to their let's say internal KPIs and measurements in regards to business value, but as well make sure that we deliver quality solution. So there is a constant struggle, but what's important to address here is that that's keeping the balance is our core job, So it's not something that should be delegated. You need to get information from multiple aspects, but as a tech leader, you need to be the one who makes sure that the realization of the plan will go in regards to address both business and technical aspects.
Yes, yeah. So you've got a lot of, the position that you're in, the CTO. It's kind of you're right at the heart of it. I always often joke that, well, I don't joke, I state that, all companies are tech companies in effect. And CTOs are pretty much at the heart of, if companies are going to be successful or not. The decisions you make are going to really change trajectory. So you're delivering value to the customer. You're trying to deliver the value to the business. And also to the people, because you want them to grow as well, because tech doesn't stay still. We don't live in an industrial age where, you can become a machinist and you can do that forever and a day again, filing away bits of metal. The technology landscape is always changing. So it's a really tough balance.
It is definitely. And I believe that's the struggle in each and every company, especially with the CTOs that I have been discussing throughout the years. Usually the tech person is the one who says, okay, stop, we need more time. But the business always goes 5 steps ahead. And the CTOs, the head of technology, are usually the one that say, okay, but we need to do this and this. And they mention a lot of risks and prerequisites on how we can build a team that will work FPGA or AI ML related projects. So, and definitely on this position, the biggest, let's say, challenge is to navigate the business and business stakeholders, while making sure that we as well address the people development plans, but as well making sure that we address the latest industry trends and making sure that we equip the engineers with solid knowledge about these days AI agents, for example, and utilizing Gen AI as a service. So, and of course, that means appropriate time to be addressed. So, and that needs to be communicated and balanced. So, but we as leaders, we have that responsibility to advocate the business and the business stakeholders to make sure that the only path forward is to stop, reflect, and take into consideration what's going on, and invest in the people, in their knowledge, in making sure that they will be ready to work this latest trend. So that's the kind of balance that we need to address.
Yes, and I can imagine, I've got a note here around, customers distracting the work that you're doing. So, for example, customers might come up with new ideas or new features or whatever, and they throw it in there and says, oh well, this would be really nice to have, and this would be nice. So you kind of lose focus as well. So there's an element of an excitement around something new without actually kind of making the kind of core of what we need to deliver not maybe get distracted away from the goal that we have at hand.
And that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
So, and especially, as I said, in this world where things are pretty dynamic and changing, and being working in a service-oriented company, you can see and feel that. But as I said previously, all of the ideas, we believe in idea mediocrity. So it's good to understand whether a particular idea goes, whether that's exploring a brand new technology or exploring a brand new industry, to assess both from different business technology perspective, and to have a conclusion. And that's good to have new ideas, but to make sure that we properly assess from all of the aspects that are relevant for the case.
So thank you for that, Alex. I just want to talk about the future of tech. Okay, what's your thoughts on emerging tech and any kind of excitements in that space at the moment?
Yeah, there is a lot of excitement in that area, and I would highlight that we are right now living in a very interesting area where the whole process of software engineering and building a web application has and systems is significantly changing. And I will reflect to what Microsoft CEO has recently mentioned, that SaaS platforms are developing SaaS is already dead. So what does that mean is that if a couple of years ago we were mainly focused on how we'll build my particular microservice and focused on building everything from scratch, these days we need to basically think in the direction of utilizing Gen AI, either through retrieval augmented generation, and moreover by utilizing AI agents in order to resolve a particular business case, to replace a particular integration, and basically create an agent instead of microservice. So there is a huge shift in how we are going to build software, and that is something that each and every software engineer needs to be aware of. That's where the things are going. Anyway, throughout the years, there were different kind of technologies, and each technology, has a huge decline at some point of time. Initially, there was a huge hype for blockchain in 2018. So, but after that, we didn't actually see too much integration overall. So, but what's different is that these days, with having the power of Gen AI as a service, that significantly is changing how we do things. So I don't think so that will be a short hype, let's say. So we need to address that and adapt. So we need, particularly my main right now responsibility is to make sure that the software engineers are up to date with this new trend, and make sure that first of all they understand how LLMs function, and that they understand how we can utilize again Gen AI with either MCP to make sure that we enable them with the knowledge that they should have, so they can build the next generation software.
Excellent, that's good. And how is IT Labs helping that kind of process, this chapter in tech?
Yeah, IT Labs it has a network of technical assigned mentors. So each and every engineer has an assigned mentor who is responsible for the professional growth. And basically throughout that network of technical leads and assigned mentors, we make sure that we address, whether there is a gap in a particular skill set of software engineers or data engineers, or DevOps, DevSecOps engineers. And as well, we make sure that the company development plan has transitioning and empowering software engineers with to be AI-powered engineers or utilizing Gen AI as a service is part of the company strategy. So we make sure that throughout that network, the company development plan and how we see the role of software engineering being shifted and upgraded, I would say, we make sure that plan is actually replicated in the development plan. So then that means first of all, that the theoretical knowledge through courses, workshops, and hackathons internally in the company, and along the way, a lot of knowledge sharing sessions within the IT Labs Dev Talks. Try, show, and that's the way.
Fantastic. That's great. And final reflections, actually, as we come to the closing arc of our time together. You've kind of mentioned around what's helped you most in tech leadership. What do you wish to tech leadership to kind of step up? But if I could offer you a wish, I always joke that, I'm going to be the tech genie for a second. I'm going to offer you a wish for leadership. What would that wish be?
The tech leader, I think, and I heard this from a presenter on a conference that I visited previous year, data conference in Belgrade, and I completely agree with that approach. Is that our responsibility as tech leaders is, to ingest common sense when there is a huge hype, whether that's internally in an organization, within a community. Because, some aspects for example, the AI and data field, there are a lot of buzzwords and everyone is too much excited, if I can say that. And you can see even businesses that are seeing particular machine learning models to be developed, but we are witnessing them not having digitalization of the flow. So, and if you don't have data, you cannot even have AI. So, what I'm trying to say is that our responsibility as tech leaders is to translate the capabilities of right now AI, Gen AI, and translate that to reasonable actions and opportunities, because not every technology is a resolution that includes AI as well for each and every case. So to reflect to the saying of this particular presenter is that these days, even on LinkedIn, you have a lot of influencers in regards to that are speaking maybe even without understanding the technology, the capabilities. So it's important for the tech leaders to make sure that they translate the capabilities of those new trends to actual reasonable business value. So because the hype is a hype, but not in every as I said, technology is a solution for every problem and every business domain. So I believe these days that's one of the biggest responsibility that the technical leaders among the world should take and speak more, especially with the business stakeholders, and make sure that the investing when investing is relevant, finance strategy is relevant, and to participate in that. So that's my takeaway.
Fantastic. Thank you. So actually that was the wish. So I guess the wish there, translating to wish, is, for people to speak up more and to kind of communicate their ideas into the space. So what is a one sentence takeaway that you would like to leave us as we part company, as a parting gift?
I would say that overall, if someone wants to develop in a leadership position to lead people, first of all, to make sure that in an appropriate organization or a community where there is a mentor for him, because that's the most important. So find either a role model or a pet and an ideal, let's say, leader, and hopefully you can find an organization when there is a mentor, because that's the easiest way to pursue in leadership. I was happy enough to work at IT Labs throughout the years, where I was guided by this kind of mentors and leaders. So that's extremely important. So yeah,
get a mentor, absolutely, and get a good one. There's plenty of them out there that want to help. So that's a great shout. So thank you for your time, Alex. It's been great having you on CTO Confessions. Some great takeaways there for our audience, and I look forward to speaking again.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure speaking with you. So yeah, see you soon.